Should you get the Ninja Gaiden Master Collection? Well, the answer to that can be very different depending if you are a long-time Ninja Gaiden fan or if you are someone new that simply likes action games. In this video review I'm going to give you a quick overview of what the three games are about, what has changed since the original versions and if they aged well. In other words, whether you are a ninja dog or a self-proclaimed master ninja, after watching this video you will know exactly what this Master Collection has to offer, and if not, you can always drop a comment and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Also, if you like these kinds of videos and want to stay up to date on the latest niche in Japanese games, make sure to subscribe and click the bell icon to not miss anything. Now without further ado, let's get started. So it's been like what, 9 years now since the last mainline Ninja Gaiden title? While there is still no official word on Ninja Gaiden 4, the developers at Team Ninja haven't been sitting still. Instead, they've been blessing us not only with boobas and butts, but also with the magnificent Neo 1 and 2. And while the latter does draw some inspiration from Ninja Gaiden's combat, it just doesn't scratch the same itch. An itch where there are no stats, levels or builds, but just a ninja, with a selection of weapons that fights high-speed battles in small spaces with deadly enemies. The name of this ninja is Ryu Hayabusa, and in this game collection you experience his story through Ninja Gaiden 1, 2 and 3, but only very specific versions of these games. For Ninja Gaiden 1, this is the Sigma version that was originally released on the PlayStation 3 in 2007. For Ninja Gaiden 2, this is the Sigma version that was originally released on the PlayStation 3 in 2009. And for Ninja Gaiden 3, it's, thankfully, the Razor's Edge version that was released on, believe it or not, the Wii U in 2012 and on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 in 2013. Aside from Razor's Edge, many longtime fans view Ninja Gaiden Black and Ninja Gaiden 2 to be superior to their counterparts, but as these games have been excluded from this collection, I won't go into detail about those differences, but instead focus on what has changed since the previous Sigma and Razor's Edge versions. Story-wise, Ninja Gaiden is pretty straightforward. In Ninja Gaiden 1, Ryu Hayabusa's village is raided and a special sword called the Dark Dragon Blade is stolen. Throughout the game he sets out for revenge and tries to steal back the sword. In Ninja Gaiden 2, it's pretty much the same thing, but instead of a sword, the enemy stole a demon statue this time around. The third game strays away from the original premise of catch the thief and has Ryu assist the Japanese government to take out a terrorist group that is led by a mysterious masked man. This man also curses Ryu's arm, by the way, which is another reason to go after him. But yeah, overall the stories in 1 and 2 are okay. They're not really memorable or anything, but they give you enough context to make sense of what you're doing. In 3, however, they added a bunch of characters, but they are never properly introduced and the dialogue and personality seem a bit forced. Because of this, it's hard to care for them at all, which makes it even more annoying when they drag down Ryu's pacing by being so vulnerable. That said, the gameplay, and namely the combat, is the aspect that draws people to this game. Across all games it's fast paced, it's challenging and you actually feel like a ninja. With Ryu being the way he is, he doesn't mess around. He doesn't style on his enemies, he doesn't play around with his targets, but like a true ninja he goes in for the kill as quick and clean as possible. And this is needed because each and every enemy in this game is deadly regardless of the difficulty that you're playing on. And then there are also the bosses who feel completely different. Sure, they also have their attack patterns, but they are way more deadly and don't leave that much chance for counterattacks. My favorite bosses are the Archfiends in Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2. Each of them has a distinct way of fighting and can feel overwhelming, both in speed and the amount of damage they deal. My least favorite bosses on the other hand are the machines that you fight in Razor's Edge. I mean, I get that you're fighting a terrorist group and I get that they use technology which translates into machines, but these are just not fun. They're annoying at best and it feels disappointing to end certain missions by fighting these. Just like in Devil May Cry 2, there are multiple helicopter fights where you just have to dodge and shoot with auto aim. Honestly, I think there's only one melee combat action game that did machinery bosses well, which is Metal Gear Rising, and even that's mainly because of the absolute banger of a soundtrack and crazy quicktime events. The stages themselves are linear and split into combat arenas and short platforming segments. In Sigma 1 for instance you often find in small corridors and have little room to move around. In Sigma 2 you generally get more space while still having some small sections now and then, but in Ninja Gaiden 3 you get a lot of space. But this amount of space also comes with more enemies, including ranged ones. The platforming parts are pretty fun as you do use classic ninja techniques such as wall running and jumping between walls to get to a higher ground. This is sometimes needed to progress through the stages or find hidden items. So, what has changed? Well, the games look better and run smoothly at 60 FPS, especially Ninja Gaiden Sigma looks much better than how I remember it. Overall, the games have higher quality character models and make better use of lighting effects. What has really improved though is that the games always run smoothly at 60 FPS no matter how much is happening on your screen. But with that said, I did play on a PS4 Pro, so if you play this on a regular PS4 or a potato PC, or maybe the Nintendo Switch, your experience could vary. Another change is the removal of the online features. Sigma 2 has tag battles in which you can team up with another ninja to take on difficult missions. Back on the PlayStation 3 you could team up with other ninjas around the world to take these missions on, and you kind of had to because the AI partner back then was practically useless. But this time around you have no other choice than to play with your AI partner, but they did make the missions easier so that you can actually clear them. Both you and the AI take less damage, and each boss, at least at the highest difficulties, seem to have half of their original health. One of the notoriously hard missions is Ultimate Ninja 1, and as you can see in this clip, I'm just dodging to show how the AI actually deals a good amount of damage and doesn't seem to die. At least not easily. This is not to say that the missions are easy, but with enough practice they are at least doable. In Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge there were originally 2 online modes. One was a PvP mode which has been completely removed, and a co-op mode similar to the tag missions from Sigma 2. As opposed to Sigma 2, you have to completely do these missions by yourself, but unlike Sigma 2, they haven't been adjusted to single player properly in my opinion. You see, the biggest reason for doing these missions in co-op isn't just that you need more damage, but mostly for the distraction and the ability to be revived when you get downed. The only thing they really adjusted here is the HP of the bosses, and you know, in a lot of missions that's completely fine, until you reach the higher difficulties where you fight multiple bosses at once, and even there it can differ. To give you an example, in Master Ninja 3 you fight 2 Fiend Genshin at once. This is a boss that has a moveset for being up close and also for being far away, so as long as you separate the two, it's just like fighting him normally with an occasional extra attack that you have to dodge. Master Ninja 5 for example has you fight 3 Fiend Ryus at once, which is absolutely bonkers. Each of them can instantly kill you, and if you attack one of them, you're easily interrupted by the others. If you had an AI partner or a co-op partner, they could easily distract 2 of them while you took out the other one. But seeing as you're completely alone, you have no choice but trying to chip away at their health by using some cheaper methods, like Ayane's ultimate attack spam or the 360 side attack. That said, if you're looking to obtain all the achievements and trophies in this game, you definitely can, they're just a little bit difficult. The tag battles in Sigma 2 are doable with the AI partner, and in Razor's Edge you luckily only have to complete 5 Master Ninja trials and 3 Ultimate Ninja trials, so you can just pick the easiest one out of the selection and be done with that. If you are a completionist however and you're going to pick up this game, I wish you the best of luck and applaud your mental fortitude. Now, one thing that sadly hasn't changed is the blood in Sigma 2, or more precisely the lack of it. OG Ninja Gaiden 2 was bloody, but for Sigma 2 they changed it to purple mist instead. In Sigma 2 Plus, which was a port on the Vita, they added the blood again and players were really happy about it, so I'm kind of bummed that they didn't include it in this version. I did ask Koei Tecmo whether this will be changed in the future through, let's say, a patch or an update, but I don't have a response on it just yet. If I do receive a response for this though, I will make sure to add it in a pinned comment down below the video. So, final thoughts. I would have liked it if they put more effort into these ports. Like, I'm not asking for a full remake or anything, but the online co-op missions were one of the most fun additions to the game and actually the only feature that kept people playing for a long time. Sure, the missions could be laggy and therefore frustrating, but it was a good reason to hop back onto the game so now and then. And I honestly think that if they decide to remove these features, they should have at least reworked it a little bit to make them more fun. Like, instead of fighting 3 Ryus at once, just have 5 of them spawn consecutively. Maybe a bit more boss rush and less being overwhelmed by multiple bosses at once. Other than that, I'm happy that we do get to play these games on the current generation again. And I think it's a good thing that this series is now exposed to a broader audience across both generations and different platforms. And you know, maybe, if we're lucky, they did this so they can announce Ninja Gaiden 4 later and have a bigger audience ready for that, right? Well, there's no official word on it yet, but I really think it's a good possibility. In closing, I think if you're an existing Ninja Gaiden fan, you need to ask yourself what you expect out of these games. Because if you're someone that loved the originals but didn't like the Sigma versions that much, you're obviously not gonna be happy with this. But if you're not fussed about it and just like the gameplay in general, it's a good way to relive these games with better visuals and performance. If you haven't played a Ninja Gaiden game before, but like action games with some difficulty in general, I think this is the most accessible and best way for you to get into the series. Let me know what kind of person you are and what you think of these games after seeing this video. I'm really curious. Also, if you have any further questions about this game, feel free to leave a comment and I will get back to you as soon as possible too. And with that said, I want to thank you all for watching, and until next time.